Aaron loved living alone. No nightmares, no sleep issues. Then his sister moved in. Sophie asked to stay on his couch for a week after a breakup. He agreed. That night, he fell asleep to the soft hum of the hallway light. He suddenly opened his eyes but couldn't move or blink, eyes wide open, staring at the ceiling. He panicked. Sleep paralysis, he thought. It had to be. Then he saw it. Sophie in the doorway, standing still outside his bedroom. Her body framed by the hallway light. Pale, motionless. Her face was blank, eyes unblinking. He tried to move but couldn't. He was terrified. Then, she took one step forward. The floor creaked. Aaron's heart nearly stopped. She wasn't sleepwalking, wasn't moving right. Her legs bent too slow, like she was learning how to walk again. Another step. And then, his vision darkened. His body jerked. He could move again, like someone let him out of their grasp. He shot upright, breathing fast. His bedroom was empty. He rushed to the hallway. Nothing. Sophie was asleep on the couch downstairs, curled up under a blanket. Breathing softly. He didn't wake her, didn't say a word the next day. 2 nights later, it happened again. Aaron left his door open a little this time. He needed to prove to himself that it was a dream. He fell asleep with the hallway light on, then woke up suddenly. Couldn't move, just like before. The door was wide open, and Sophie stood there, closer than last time. Same frozen face, wide eyes, but her lips were slightly parted, like she was trying to speak. Then she twitched. Just one shoulder, jerking slightly like a puppet hanging from a string. His throat went dry. He wanted to move, run, or do anything, but couldn't. She took a few steps, walked up to the bed, stared down at his face. Aaron's breath stuttered in his chest. Her eyes looked painted on. Then suddenly, he could move. He gasped, jerking upward. No one. The hallway light flickered. The room smelled like rusted metal. He ran downstairs. Sophie was sleeping on the couch peacefully. He watched her for a minute. When she woke the next morning, he asked her if she came to his room at night. She frowned. No, I sleep like a corpse when I'm out. Why? He didn't answer. By the 5th night, Aaron stopped sleeping properly. He installed a motion sensor near his room. No alerts. But the sleep paralysis got worse. Every time she got closer. One night, she sat in the chair in his room. Her face never changed. Always that wide-eyed, parted lip. But she tilted her head slowly, as if studying him. Another night, she stood at the foot of the bed. Aaron couldn't feel his legs. He swore. He saw her mouth move that time, like mimicking language she didn't understand. The real Sophie had no clue. I think I've been sleepwalking, she said one morning, brushing her teeth. I wake up sore, legs stiff. You ever notice anything? Aaron nodded slowly. She didn't know. Whatever that thing was, it wasn't her. Then came the night that broke everything. Aaron lay in bed, door closed this time, lights off. He hadn't slept in almost 36 hours. When it came fast. One blink, and he was paralyzed. This time, she wasn't in the doorway. She was already facing him in the bed next to him. Inches from his face. Expression same as before, unnatural, but now she was smiling. A twitching, trembling smile, like her face was learning to bend. Her hand moved slowly. Up to his cheek. Aaron felt her touch. Fingers were ice cold. Then a voice croaked into the silence. This fits. Then she blinked, the first blink he'd ever seen, and he blacked out. When Aaron woke up, sunlight has already spilled into the room. His could move, but body ached like he'd was injured in his sleep. Downstairs, Sophie stood in the kitchen, humming, making coffee. She turned, smiled. But it was wrong. The smile was too stiff. And her eyes didn't blink. She then turned her back to the window when Aaron walked away, and to make sure called Sophie, but she did not pick up. So he video called their mom. "Hey, can you put Sophie on?" he asked, hands shaking. "She just called me 1 hour ago," his mom said. "She's left early this morning, heading to your cousin's place." Aaron stared at the other Sophie in his kitchen, still standing there watching the window, unblinking. Aaron can't sleep anymore. The other Sophie walks through the halls, opens windows and closes them at night. Turns on the TV but doesn't watch it. Sometimes he catches her staring into mirrors, practicing facial expressions like a bad actor. She blinks now, but always calculated, but slow. He doesn't talk to her, doesn't respond when she speaks, because he knows it isn't his sister. But here's the worst part is, she doesn't leave. Stays near him in the corner of his eye. When he finally sleeps and wakes up frozen, she's always there right beside him, smiling that crooked smile. Her face still had that expression she had in the hallway, the one that won't go away and leave him alone at peace. Noah had always lived quietly, and lately his sleep had been quiet too, months without a full night's rest. Sleep paralysis, the doctor had said, harmless, common, nothing to be afraid of. But Noah wasn't so sure. He didn't see things during his episodes, no dark figures, no demons. Just an invisible weight sitting on his chest and the slow, cold grip of dread while his body stayed frozen. It passed eventually, but each time it felt worse, like something was getting closer. One evening, a friend stopped by and handed him a peculiar item. A small brass bell tied to a frayed red string. "Got it from an old shop in town," she said. "Supposed to ward off spirits. Locals said if the bell rings while you're asleep, something's too close." Noah chuckled uncomfortably. But when you're sleep-deprived enough, even superstition sounds like solutions. He tied the bell to the metal frame at the foot of his bed that night, not expecting it to do anything. He slept better knowing it was there. Until it rang. It was a faint sound, light as air, but it dragged Noah out of frozen sleep. His eyes snapped open. He couldn't move, couldn't speak. The bell at the foot of the bed swayed slightly. Nothing else in the room moved, but the air felt heavy. Noah's breath caught in his throat. Not because he saw anything, but because he felt something was watching and he wasn't alone. Then, slow movement. Just the subtle shift of fabric, the creak of wood, a footstep, bare but slow. His eyes darted toward the shape forming at the foot of the bed. It didn't fully solidify. It was a tall silhouette standing where the bell hung. Still and silent. 2 more soft chimes. The bell moved again, reacting to something that wasn't the air. The figure leaned forward, slowly, as if studying Noah's helpless body. Its head tilted at an unnatural angle, and though Noah couldn't see its face, he knew it was smiling. Suddenly, the paralysis broke. Noah sat up, gasping. The room was empty again. The bell had stopped ringing. The next day, Noah tried to brush it off as a vivid dream. But he didn't remove the bell. He couldn't bring himself to touch it. Somehow, the little thing felt like both a warning and a defense. That night, it rang again, and the figure returned. Now, it stood beside his table. Then closer the next night, by the side of the bed. Each night, the paralysis gripped him faster. And each night, the bell rang earlier, always soft, always deliberate. He tried everything, slept with the lights on, slept in the living room, even stayed awake as long as he could. But exhaustion always won. And when it did, he woke up paralyzed, the bell swinging, the figure watching. Sometimes it circled the bed, sometimes it reached for him, and once, only once, it climbed into bed beside him. That night, Noah felt its breath, cold and damp, inches from his mouth. It whispered something he didn't understand. Then he woke, soaked in sweat. The bell was still ringing. Desperate, Noah set up his camera on the table, pointed at the bed. He needed proof that he wasn't losing his mind, that the bell wasn't ringing on its own. He fell asleep with the camera recording. The paralysis struck again around 4 a.m. He knew the moment he opened his eyes and couldn't move. The figure was beside the bed, crouched low, its face inches from the bell. It reached for the string and smiled. The bell rang once, softly. Then, nothing. Noah reviewed the footage the next morning. For most of the night, the room was still. Then, just before 4 a.m., the footage glitched, image cracked. In a single frame, a shadow appeared. Next moment, it wasn't there. The next, it was standing at the foot of the bed. The bell moved on its own. The figure never looked at the camera. It looked only at Noah. The footage ended with another glitch. And silence. He played it 5 times. And each time the bell rang once, yet it echoed through his bones. Noah tried burning the bell. It didn't melt. Tried burying it. It surfaced the next day, placed neatly on his pillow. He stopped trying. Now, the bell no longer waits for him to sleep. It rings in daylight in other rooms. Once, he found it swinging while he was brushing his teeth. Nothing nearby, no wind, no movement. Just the bell moving on its own. The figure has changed too. It doesn't disappear after sleep. Now it lingers and watches. He'll turn his head, and it's gone. But sometimes he swears it doesn't even bother hiding. And on the worst nights, Noah doesn't feel the paralysis anymore, because he doesn't get the chance to wake. He just opens his eyes, and it's already lying next to him. Sharing his bed, breathing against his neck. The bell rings once, then again. Then a whisper follows. "You invited me." Noah doesn't know if he's dreaming anymore. Every time the bell rings, he knows it's not a warning. It's a reminder that it's still there, watching him. Constantly and tirelessly. Brent hadn't slept properly in days. He always felt tired, which was worsening. The startup he started at encouraged it. Everyone was a walking corpse pretending it was ambition. All-night crunches, early morning syncs, a team chat that never slept. By the 4th night without rest, Brent noticed something odd. Lying awake at 3:41 a.m., he saw red numbers glowing on his bedroom wall. Sleep debt, 9 hours, 14 minutes, 6 seconds. He blinked, rubbed his eyes. It was still there. The numbers ticked upward slowly, 1 second at a time. At first, he assumed it was exhaustion playing tricks, but the numbers weren't behind his eyes. They were in the room. When he looked away and back, they remained. That night, he managed to sleep for 2 shallow hours. When he woke, the numbers still glowed faintly above the closet. Sleep debt, 10 hours, 57 minutes, 33 seconds. He didn't tell anyone. What could he say? He was hallucinating from lack of sleep. That's what people would think. And maybe he was, until things started to move. The next night, as the numbers were over 12 hours, a shape, not quite solid, hovered in the corner. It didn't have a face, just a figure, tall, still, leaning slightly forward like it was listening. When he looked directly at it, it vanished, but it kept coming back, always near the numbers and silent. The more the debt grew, the clearer it became. By 15 hours, it no longer vanished completely. It lingered everywhere. Brent would lie frozen, unable to sleep, feeling its presence pressing down on him. He tried everything: caffeine detox, blackout curtains, breathing apps, meditation. Nothing worked. The presence didn't stop him from sleeping. He stopped himself. By 18 hours, Brent started seeing multiple figures. One crouched in the hallway outside his bedroom door. Another sat curled on the ceiling above his bed. They were just there, not aggressive, but patiently waiting. At 20 hours, a strange rhythm began. Whenever Brent would be on the edge of sleep, he'd hear something sharp and metallic scrape against the floor. It would jolt him awake, heart racing, pulse high. He'd look, find nothing. The shapes stayed still. They were tracking him. It was around this point that he stumbled across something ancient online, a journal from a sleep study conducted in Finland during the 1960s. A handwritten note included in the study had been dismissed by the researchers as folklore. It read, "There's a weight that sleep holds. You can borrow from it, but you always repay, or something comes to balance the debt. It doesn't take your body, it takes your rest." The last phrase stayed with Brent. The figures weren't trying to kill him. They were making sure he never slept again. Every skipped hour fed them. They gained more of his rest, which made them strong. By 23 hours, when he blinked, he saw other places. Hospitals, empty cities, faces without eyes, no dreams or memories. He was slowly losing track of reality, one sleepless hour at a time. That night, his chest grew tight with sadness. He thought of his mother. He missed her. Her soft voice, her quiet lullabies when he was sick. She lived a state away. He called her. She answered on the second ring, surprised. It had been months. "I'm tired, Mom," he said, his voice cracking. "I can't sleep." She didn't ask questions, only told him to come home. Brent left everything behind, his job, apartment, his devices, just a backpack and his car. On the drive, he saw the red digits, sleep debt, 25 hours. He reached his mom at dusk. The lights were warm, the house smelled the same, lavender and laundry. His mother brought him tea, fluffed his pillows and dimmed the lights. She kissed his forehead and whispered, "You don't have to be tired anymore." That night, he slept in his childhood bedroom, and for the first time in nearly 2 weeks the ticking stopped. The figures didn't enter the room, but stood outside the window, quiet, observing, slowly fading. Brent closed his eyes and slept. Deep, complete, dreamless sleep. He awoke 12 hours later to birdsong and sunlight. The red numbers were still there, but faint, flickering gently in the morning light. Sleep debt, 18 hours. But a new line had appeared beneath them, restoring balance. He smiled. Over the next few weeks, Brent relearned how to live like a human being. No more red-eye work calls, no more all-nighters. He volunteered part-time at a community library, reconnected with his mom, read books, took walks in the morning, fed stray cats, started writing again. Each night he slept, not because he was fighting the debt, but because he wanted to. The numbers didn't vanish overnight, but they reduced. 10 hours, 7, then finally 0. And just beneath it, in soft white script, balance restored. Brent never saw the shapes again, but he remembered them. Every time he looked at a glowing screen too late, every time he was tempted to push one more hour, he remembered what waited him if exhaustion grows. And he chose peace. Every time, every night. Thank you for watching and listening. See you soon with more stories. Till then, stay well and stay safe.